one of the biggest legislative accomplishments of the last session was the Arkansas Learns Act, or education reform, right? It was a huge plank in Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders' legislative platform, if you will, something she wanted to get done, wanted to overhaul a very outdated, a very old Arkansas education system, and she succeeded in doing this. But as I told you at the time, there was this almost, we don't have a union here, but it might as well be one, a teachers union, I call it a Arkansas Education Industrial Complex, whatever you want to call it. They were mobilizing every way they could to try to thwart and stop school choice, to stop the Learns Act from coming to fruition. And I have seen this, been around a long time to know exactly how this goes. Anytime you try to mess with education in Arkansas, there is a huge, almost like the Pony Express that starts going in teachers' lounges and now on Facebook of teachers, many of them, all due respect, I think they're wrong and misinformed about, and this idea that the system is working perfectly fine is just not so, and there's resistant to change and that sort of thing. And a lot of times the teachers lobby, the superintendent lobby, the school board lobby, they have been successful in defeating meaningful school choice reform or education reform and that sort of thing. That was not the case this session. And so because of that, we have headlines and stories like this one that I'm going to share with you. There is now a movement out there to get a referendum and use the referendum to essentially repeal the Learns Act. Now, so far, the group pushing to repeal the Learns Act has only raised a little over, almost $3,000 in the month of April. This is a story in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. It is by Neil Early. And he writes that Citizens for Arkansas Public Education and students raised funds through small donations, okay? And this organization, the acronym CAPES, Citizens for Arkansas Public Education and Students, aims to repeal the Learns Act through a referendum, so a vote of the people that would give the final say to the voters of whether Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders' education law would stand. So, and it also cites Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin has twice rejected proposed ballot language. Again, we're going to be talking with Tim Griffin here in just a moment about criminal justice reform for the referendum, leaving the repeal effort in limbo. So under Arkansas law, the Attorney General has to sign off on the referendum's ballot title and popular name before the group can start to gather signatures. They would need to gather more than 54,000 signatures before, from registered voters, I guess by July 31st, so right before August. So what that means essentially is you've got this group called CAPES that, if they get the funding to do this, you're going to start seeing canvassers. Now, again, they're going to need funding for this. $3,000 probably not going to cut it. Does it let us know what the total funds that they have? Anyway, I don't see that. Anyway, the point is they're going to have to start getting signatures, and so, I'm sure there's going to be some disgruntled teachers that are going to sign on to this, disgruntled superintendents and school boards and things like that. But, there's also teachers that support this. And, I don't want to pretend that it's just this completely unified opposition to the Learns Act, because it's not. I will say that the bureaucracy of really any government-run system, but specifically education, a lot of times when you do something that the bureaucracy doesn't like, the people that run the education, sometimes they'll try to self-sabotage any meaningful reforms and that sort of thing. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders and people who that she's hiring to work at the Department of Education are going to have to be very mindful of sabotage from within when you're trying to do something like reform education. That's something that needs to be considered, and I'm sure it is being considered. So you're going to start seeing these canvassers asking your signature, and I'm sure they're going to be very deceptive. It'll be something like, sign here to save Arkansas education, for the kids. So be wary of that. You need to share this video or, tell your friends that if you support Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and you support the LEARNS Act and you support school choice and you support everything that happened surrounding that, then be wary of these people that are going to be asking you for your signatures to try to get their 48,000 signatures to get this on the ballot. And then we'll have, man, if it is to get on the ballot, now we're going to have yet another referendum, which I don't know about you, but I know many Arkansans are just sick to death of these ballot issues that are on the ballot. It seems like all the time. Whether it's the medical marijuana or recreational marijuana or casinos being put into our Constitution. I mean, I'm just fatigued by the whole thing, and I know you are too. Well, we may have another one for the next election cycle if they are successful. Let's hope they're not successful, but again, don't sign this petition. Be very mindful that they will try to deceive you. That's what groups like this do. They will try to deceive you to get your signatures in all likelihood. So definitely want to be careful about that.